Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. So I hope you're enjoying your summer. What gorgeous weather. And I hope you're getting active, getting on the trails, there's so many different tourist attractions, things that you can do with yourself, with friends, with family, all during the summer. So I hope you're enjoying yourself. Now, today on the show, it is a Survivor special. We are talking to the winner of Survivor this last season, Maryanne Oketch, who is from Ajax, Ontario. She is a firecracker. She's a ball of energy. Apparently, she's also chaotic. But I think that's what helped her to win $1 million. So we're going to be talking to her on the show about her experience, about the lasting friendships that she made, what she might be doing with that $1 million, and some of the best and worst of what she experienced on being on the show. So make sure you keep watching, because we're going to be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hey, what's good, everybody? I'm Karim Grant, a former professional football player. Do you want to know what current and former professional athletes are up to these days? Catch the Players Corner with Karim Grant exclusively on Rogers TV.
Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life, or welcome back, I should say. And who we have on the show is Maryanne Oketch, who was the Canadian winner of Survivor, who won $1 million for being on the show, and is from Ajax, Ontario. Maryanne, it is so cool to meet you.
It's so cool to meet you too, Jackie.
Okay, I need to know how this experience was for you. So, first of all, can you give me an overview? And then we're going to go into some more details, right? So give me an overview of what it was like to be a contestant on the show.
Of course, each day being a contestant was a dream, because when we were filming, it was April and, Ontario was back on fire again. Everyone was locked down. You couldn't see anyone. And I was meeting new people who I'd probably never meet before. So, you're thinking about the game and your next move forward, but I was just experiencing, I get to socialize again. I get to socialize in a game that I love with people and enjoy Fiji. Like, who gets a free trip to Fiji? All that wasn't included was food and accommodation, but I got the trip. That's worth it. So it was just a joy. Every single day was a blessing.
Okay. The one thing, when I've watched Survivor in the past, the one thing that always concerned me is food. And sorry, Chewy is like fanning me with his tail as we're doing this. Like, pet me. So how was it for you to eat whatever you had available there? What was that, a challenging mentally, emotionally, physically? What was that like?
Yeah. So, every person gets the hunger a little bit differently. So for me, I didn't actually feel hunger pangs. I just felt empty. So, when you're like not hungry, but you're empty, but I would talk about food in excessive detail, just like in a graphic detail, explaining how I want this and this and this. I had a whole wish list. As for eating the food on the island, in the beginning, we actually didn't have rice. So all that was available for us was coconut. And I hate coconut, but I'd have to eat it because I knew I had to get some sort of calories in. But then later in the game, when we got rice, I was so happy about the rice. But then I got sick, and then I developed an aversion to the rice where I physically couldn't eat it. So I think for the last 6 or so days, I actually didn't eat anything, and that was hard for me physically.
So what type of illness did you get? Was it a cold, stomach flu? What was it?
It was like a stomach issues, GI issues, but because like it just messed up with my system, and then I just couldn't eat anything. It was so frustrating.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And with you saying that you were in that fantasy world and talking about food in detail, you were giving yourself food porn and not being able to eat anything that you like.
It was basically it was almost as if I could smell it. If I talked about it in enough detail, especially my big thing is I would explain like how I'd eat ribs, just like melting off the bone and like slathered in barbecue sauce. And you kind of taste it. It's like you have a memory of the taste. So that was enough for me.
Did you drive everyone else nuts by talking about food in that way?
So some people loved it. Like Lindsay on my tribe, she loved talking about food. We just go back and forth about eating because she's a dietitian. But Jonathan, who's just an absolute beast of a human being, he did not like the food talk.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so looking at your bio, oh, shush up. Looking at your bio, one of the descriptors you have of yourself is, okay, so you have energetic, empathic, and chaotic. How would you describe that in the show setting? How did you bring in that chaos in that way?
Oh my goodness. Of course. The way that I brought a little bit of chaos in the game is that I would just be a little bit messy when it came to strategy. I'd talk to everyone would talk to me, or sometimes, I'm chaotic in the way that I go and deal with things. Like I can be a good way to describe it is we have a gag order in the cast when we play the game. You know, the game Hot and Cold, like hotter or colder, hotter or cooler. You know that game, the children's game?
Okay, yes.
So a lot of people play it with relative heat. So it's like if you get closer to something, it's like warmer, 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 cooler, cooler, cooler. But what I do is I like playing the hot and cold game with absolute heat. So it's a heat map. So you go from warm, warm, hot, 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 warm, warm, cool, cool. So nobody liked that, but I'm like, no, it's a way to play. So we should totally play it that way. So that brought chaos. So now our whole cast, we can't play hot or cold anymore because of me.
Oh. Okay, so with you being chaotic with your strategy, how do you think you won? What do you think made you so successful?
I think the reason that made me so successful is because I was underestimated for a lot of the game. A lot of times, because I was in the minority alliance, people were like, oh, she's probably not going to win. People weren't going to go to talk to her or strategize with her because she's a pariah. But because I had that narrative of me being underestimated and because I was so energetic, people just thought I was willing to be there. So when I went and made my moves, nobody saw it coming.
Oh, I love that. So that is strategy within itself.
Oh, yeah, you got it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so what was the hardest part of being on the show?
I think the hardest part on being on the show was just missing my mom. My mom and I were very close, and we got even closer in the pandemic because I moved back home. And just knowing that, like, not knowing where she is, how she's doing, I think that was the hardest part.
Okay, so we lots that we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about that after the break. For example, I want to know what's the funniest thing that you experienced. I want to know what your plans are with the $1 million. I'm sure everyone's been asking you that. And maybe about the connections that you've developed and how you're going to continue with those connections. All right. So we'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
You must be the reporter. Come with me.
So, Miss McGill, how does it feel being Canada's famous women engineer?
The real story is the work we've done retooling this factory.
To build the Hawker Hurricane?
Indeed. 40 planes last month with a capacity of up to 100. Our fighters are over England as we speak. Of course, it pains me to see airplanes mass-produced like boxcars or baby carriages. But in war, We make concessions in favor of innovation.
You must feel at home, though, managing all of these women.
I'm not here to manage women.
Well, you must admit it is an unusual job.
I'm the chief engineer here. I do what engineers do. That's all.
What are we doing now?
We're to win this war. We need to know how she flies.
Elsie McGill was the world's first female aeronautical engineer. She oversaw Canada's production of Hawker Hurricanes during the Second World War, earning her the nickname Queen of the Hurricanes.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Live. So to all those Survivor fans out there, I have Maryanne Oketch with me, who was the winner for this last season. And so you put Durham region on the map. I know there was another contestant that was also from Durham, but you blew them out of the water. Just saying.
Thank you.
But now there's been 2 Canadian winners for Survivor. Canada. Whoop, whoop.
I
Awesome.
know.
Yeah, so good. All right. So, Maryanne, what was the funniest thing that happened on the show?
Oh my goodness. There were so many funny moments that happened on the show. I think one of the funniest moments that happened on the show, which I don't think was shown, was we really all make very big bonds with everyone, with the whole cast. And I remember talking to Mike, who is the runner-up of the season, and we were talking back and forth because Mike at the time, he was 57, I was 23, and he's like, "Oh, Maryanne, I'm going to go visit you in Canada." And I was like, "Okay, Mike, you can totally go visit me in Canada, but I think you'll have to go to a hotel because I don't think I can go to my mom and be like, 'Mom, can a 57-year-old man come and visit in our basement?'" So that just made everyone on the tribe laugh.
No, I don't think that's that weird.
Well, maybe we'll see now. If he ever wants to come, the basement will be available for him.
So are you still in contact with people from the show?
I'm in contact with everyone. We're all just a very close cast. Like we all generally like each other. And like I said, for example, Omar's from Durham region. He's actually a 10-minute drive off of off of where I live. So I see him all the time.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, what an incredible new bonding experience. Like with these people, you haven't experienced anything like this with anyone else in your entire life before. So what you share is pretty damn special.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, we will always be the 42 cast. No one else would have experienced it live there. And that's a bond that you just can't break.
Okay, that's amazing. So I want to ask you, what do you think you're going to do with $1 million?
Oh, my goodness. I'm hire a financial advisor. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking for a financial advisor. I know the one thing which I'm going to do is it's my parents' 30th anniversary this year. So I'm actually going to go and take them on an all expense paid trip for their anniversary.
Oh, that is the most beautiful, heartfelt gift ever. Are you going to go with them or?
No. I think the trick is because their anniversary is in December, I'm going to make the trip last long enough so I can go visit my boyfriend for Christmas and they won't be mad.
Oh, we'll just get them out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good thinking. You're smart. You're smart. And that's why you won Survivor. For anyone who is wanting to compete on Survivor, what advice would you give them?
The biggest advice that I could give to anyone who wants to compete is make sure you know yourself. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, know what makes you angry, know how you deal with hunger. Because the way is in Survivor, perception is reality. And if you can know what you're perceived as the best, you can utilize it to your best advantage.
Okay, I love that. Why do you think you were chosen on Survivor? There must be an intensive screening process to get on the show. Why do you think you were chosen?
So I think people on Survivor all have a story to tell. And they're all able to go and articulate that story well in a way that the audience will connect. So everyone has different stories. You don't have to be like, oh yeah, I went and I've traveled around the world 10 times. I think that if you have a story to tell and you know that you want to share that story and you're willing to play and you have that itch to play, I think that you can go on Survivor.
Nice. Okay, so for those of you who, let's say, don't know you, maybe they haven't seen this last season, what is your story?
So my story is that I'm someone where it's like when I was very young, I was a super weird kid. I still am a super weird kid, mind you. But, usually when you're a little weird, people go and pick on you. But the thing is, even when I was young, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to stay true to myself because I know that there'll always be people who accept me for who I am. And then I found those people and those people accept me for who I am. And that's the story which I want to share. So and people have reached out to me, especially like young women, young children, people who are older being like, that story really connects with me. And so I'm so happy that I was able to share it.
That is such a powerful gift. And, people who are my age are still trying to figure that out, right? To be able to be true to themselves, to speak their truth, and screw everyone who's not going to embrace you for the awesomeness in who you are. And shouldn't we all, well, this, we should all be surrounding ourselves with people who love us for who we are. That is a beautiful story, beautiful inspiration that you're offering everybody. I love it. What was one of the most enjoyable experiences that you had on the show?
Oh, the most enjoyable experience that we had on the show is in the pre-merge, the Taku tribe who was left. So me, Jonathan, Omer, and myself, we won 10 fish. And then, so we literally spent the whole afternoon just scaling the fish and cooking the fish and eating. So we spent that whole day eating fish and we seasoned them up, and it was just so fun and so delicious as well too.
Oh, that's amazing. What type of fish was it?
I don't even know. Good fish.
It was food. It was food. It was fish, and it was delicious. So when we come back, I would love to find out more about those really memorable experiences and any type of behind the scenes stuff that you're allowed to share that you think that we could get a little bit of background information. I don't know if that's possible, but you can start during the break. You can start thinking about that and what fun stuff you can share. Sound good?
Of course.
All right. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
You should expect to take the occasional fall when you're paddleboarding, so always have your tether attached. If you lose your balance, aim for the side so that you fall into the water. To get back on your board from the side, pull yourself aboard while remaining in the prone position. Once aboard, reorient yourself so that you're facing the front of the board. Then, using your paddle to brace yourself, get up to your knees and then stand.
Hey, I'm Mark Grace, the artist, and welcome to my studio. Maybe you're kind of like me. You like to sit back and take it easy while someone else does all the work. Well, I'm going to let you do that while I do the work, and you watch my show. It's 1 hour long. I start off with a photograph like that, turn it into a painting like that.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So those Survivor fans, we had Maryanne Oketch, the winner of this last season of Survivor on the show. Welcome back, Maryanne.
Thank you.
So I know there's probably a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff you cannot reveal, but anything that you can reveal, anything that you can share with the viewers?
One thing I can share though is that everyone on the show loves the show, and you know that the care that's brought into the show, even Jeff, all the people who work with us, they all care for us and they care for the show. So when you're going and playing, you know that it's not just a job for everyone. It's not just a job for people who are there. We're all happy to be there.
Okay. Oh, I love that. So it was usually a feel good type of experience for you then, right?
Oh yeah. I was smiling at least even when it was pouring rain, and I hate being wet. You'd always find a smile being caught on me.
I think that's awesome. So there was a bit of a twist this season in that the winner was announced right then and there on site. What were you shocked by that? Did you know that was going to happen? What was going on through your head and everyone else?
I was so shocked because going into after when the votes were being picked up, I was like, I think I won, but I have like 8 or 9 months to figure that out. Like that's a later problem. Then Jeff took the urn and he just kept on talking, and I was like, why is he still talking? Like, he shouldn't be talking this much. This usually doesn't happen. But when he said that the votes were going to be read, I was like, oh my goodness, like that threw me out. Like I was blindsided, the final blind side of the season, I guess.
Nice. So, can you relate that experience to anything else that you've had in your life? Or is this something that is going to stand out forever for you?
I think Survivor is one of those things where in your life you have peaks and you have valleys. And I'd really say that Survivor is one of those peaks. But the thing is, I'm young, I'm 24. So I think it'd be kind of naive to be like, I'm never going to have a peak like Survivor again. I think it's going to be hard to compare, but I have so much of my life ahead of me that I know that there's going to be other cool things I do in it as well.
You are an old soul. So wise, girl, so wise. All right. So what has been the reaction since you've been home? The reaction with family, with friends, in the community? What has been going on for you?
Oh, the reaction has been all positive. Like all of my friends and my family, they were so excited. They're just like, yes, she won. And a lot of people who are rooting for me were like, I knew you could do it. So it's been all good. I know that even the community of like the town of Ajax, they've all been supporting. Durham Region's been supporting. My university's been supporting. So like everyone who's ever been a part of my life is just all so supportive.
Nice. I understand you've been doing lots of interviews too. Do you want to share who has been interviewing you?
Oh my goodness, it's been a whirlwind. It's so interesting because as a Survivor fan, there's a lot of people where you'll go and you'll read exit press because you'll see someone being voted out and you read that press. So going and now being able to do the press that I've read as a fan has been so surreal. I'm like, oh my goodness, I know you. I've read the articles that you've written.
That is amazing. You know what? You are so made for the media. You are just so natural at this. So if anyone was going to win, I think you're the perfect choice, especially for this aftermath, right? You're a pleasure to interview.
Oh, thank you so much.
So I understand you had a finale party.
Yes. So typically in older seasons, everyone would go to either New York or Los Angeles for the finale. But this time I was able to go and have a finale party with my family and friends at home. So I had everyone who was just around me, and it was so exciting and surreal because usually with the finale, you maybe get 5 or so people in your family who are able to go and cheer you on. But in this finale, I had everyone, and just hearing them cheering or like booing when they didn't like things or cheering for me, like was such a great experience.
Yay. Was there anything about the show that aired that you're like, oh, I was so embarrassed about that?
Oh, I don't think there's anything that's massively embarrassing, but there's some things which happen where you're like, oh, like you think and you're like, oh, that's kind of embarrassing. Well, that'll never make air. And then it makes air. So you're like, you never know what's going to happen, especially with me being scared of bugs or me thinking that a turtle was this when this is a crab, a lot of different things.
What are some of the biggest learnings that you had with being on Survivor?
I think the biggest thing I took away from Survivor is that just not to self-sabotage myself. A lot of times, a lot of people, when they really want something, the fear of not getting it and trying your best overwhelms the fear of actually getting what you want. So you'll go and you might self-sabotage. And I almost did that as well on the show, where I wanted to keep a contestant, Lindsay, because I really liked her, but I knew that if I kept her, my chances of winning would be lower. So trying to fight that self-sabotage to give your chance to actually go and succeed the way that you want to, even though there might be a chance to fail, that's something which I really took away from the show.
You're really only in your 20s.
I am
sure about that?
I am only in my 20s.
I gotta say again, you are an old, wise soul. Pretty amazing. Any last thoughts that you have about being on the show?
Oh my goodness, being on the show was one of the best experiences of my life. I was able to go and make new friends. I was able to go and experience something that I've always wanted to experience. And I was able to go to a new continent and that was I got literally paid $1 million to do it because I won. And I'm just so thankful to everyone, CBS, Jeff Probst, and everyone who took the time to invest in me to be able to have that opportunity.
Oh, so beautiful. And you know what? It was an honor to be able to connect with you. You are a ball of energy. Energetic is a limited word for you.
Thank you.
We need a word that's even more expansive because you are vibrant, you are radiant, and gosh darn it, you are going places, girl.
Thank you.
Maryanne, it was great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Summer days, summer nights, lots of things to do, places to go, and people to see. If you're having a few drinks, be sure to plan ahead and get home safely. We don't want to pick you up. Drinking drivers risk injuries to themselves and others and take chances with their license, their jobs, and their future. Remember what's at stake and choose your ride, whether you're the driver, the passenger, or the party host. Thanks for supporting sober driving. I hope we never meet.
Visit arrivealive.org to find out more.
Hey, I'm Chef Corey Dern, host of a show on Rogers TV Georgina called Cooking with Corey. Join me bi-weekly for brand new episodes where I teach you not only what to cook, but how to cook. The only thing missing is smell-o-vision. That's Cooking with Corey right here on Rogers TV Georgina.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. And I'm Allison. Join us this week for a very special edition of the parenting show, Surviving the Pandemic. We're in this last phase and we have new and unique challenges with our mental health, and we're going to give you some solutions.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So that is a wrap of another fun show of Uxbridge Scugog Life. So congratulations to Maryanne, to Ajax, the proud community, and for putting Durham region on the map in the eyes of Survivor, right? I think that is so, so cool. And it was wonderful to have her on the show. Isn't she a ball of energy? And it makes me want to go out for Survivor. Maybe. I don't know. maybe not. But you know what? You can come out to be on Uxbridge Scugog Life. If you're interested in being on the show, you can send us an email, uxbridgescugoglife@rci.rogers.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Bye.
Call the Rogers TV Viewer Response Line. Email us or connect with us on social media.
Jokes, sir? I mean, I know you're the instructor and everything, but we can't carry the ball. How can we get a decent shot at the peach basket?
All right. Maybe we can allow a carry of a couple of steps.
And Mr. Naismith, sir, it sure slows things down having to climb up here every time.